I am Master Gano for Galighticus.com, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Questions and Answers. Our first question comes from Grace Felton. Thank you, Master Gano for allowing us to ask these questions. What do you do if you are spiritually stuck and don't feel connected to spirit the way you want to? I would use an analogy to answer that question, and I would say that if someone is feeling lethargic or if they're feeling out of shape or overweight, they might want to eat differently. They might want to take a visit to a gymnasium. They might want to do some cardiovascular movements. There are things that people can do to connect purposely to spirit. And if this is something that has befallen you, one of my suggestions would be to go to your altar, create an altar. When you create an altar in your home, you're creating a connection to the realm of the spirit. And if you commune with that a little bit every day, it will help to generate a significant connection to support other areas of your life, and it will give you a way to connect to spirit a lot more rapidly. Another thing that you can do if you don't feel connected to spirit is go on YouTube and look at a video about North Korea's limitations. Look up North Korea and all the things that they are not allowed to do in North Korea. North Korea is really, really rough. And it's interesting how such a beautiful group of people can live underneath such limitation and tyranny. They have roadways in North Korea that people are not allowed to drive anywhere. The only people who are allowed to drive in North Korea are the people who work for the government. Therefore, when you go on the highways, the freeways, and the streets, there aren't any cars. It makes you wonder, why? Why so oppressive? The people in North Korea have a gene of dwarfism. A lot of them are very, very short because they're malnourished. A lot of them have to capitulate to eating sawdust, and they flavor it up as good as they can. But they're very, very undernourished, and that's why they suffer from being more shorter than most people. When you look at how they're not able to go on the internet and not allowed to have an opinion, and even if you pose an opinion about the government, it is punishable by death. So these people are living under a very, very strict, ironclad grip. And when you start feeling like you want to complain about something, or that you're not connected to spirit, or that your life isn't worth much, all you need to do is look at some places on earth where they're dealing with a lot more worse oppression than you could possibly imagine. This will help to make you appreciate the things that you have, and also it might give you a kick in the behind, if you will, and help you to really start thinking more in a spiritual manner. It's important to know that you are a child of the Most High. Everything on earth, everything that breathes, everything that moves is a child of creation. There's no way that you would be alive if you didn't have a connection to the Creator or creators. You are a manifestation of the power of science at its highest degree, known as spirituality. You're the most complex computer that there is. Just to generate one thought takes so many different sparks of electricity. The way that you factor and calculate and deduce things. No computer could really, really come close to what a human does within 3 minutes. Go to a hospital and go into the intensive care. Go to a burn unit. Go to a place where people would give so much just to be able to walk, to breathe, to have regular skin that doesn't hurt every time the wind blows onto it. You have a lot to live for, and you have a lot of reasons to be grateful. And this is the beginning of having a spiritual connection, because everything that you have and everything that you possess is a gift to you, afforded to you by the Spirit. So I hope that that helps you, and I hope that answers your question. Our next question comes from Angel Rose on Facebook, and she asks, how is it that you are in so many people's dreams and meditations at once? I was meditating, and before I got too deep, you appeared as two giants and sat on either side of me. I started to tear up, and you were coaching me and telling me to focus. A gold light shot out from the tops of our heads, and a white light shot out from mine into the air. I know that you are a time traveler like your boss, Lord Tarth, but how many versions of you are there, or are you just that fast? LOL. Also, I thanked you at my altar, and I heard you reply right after that. How do you do that? Who are you really? That's very interesting. Well, one of the things that I would say, Angel, is that to answer your first question, when you meditate, you are opening up your higher abilities. Your higher abilities have been basically sitting dormant in most people. But when you do things like meditate, you are giving yourself the license to use and drive the vehicle of some of your abilities that are considered to be extrasensory perceptive, clairaudience, clairsentience, telekinetic, and so many different things that are not really well known. When you meditate or you have a certain acumen of connecting, you'd be very surprised to see who you might meet there on those plateaus. In terms of you seeing me as a giant, this is not something that's not indigenous to all of you. All of you have the ability to replicate your forms, and you are part of the grand cosmos. And there are many different ways that you can replicate your form and do things that are independent of your third dimensional limitation. To answer the question in short, we are all multi-dimensional beings. The only difference between myself and maybe someone who is not aware of how to utilize it is that I have accepted my multidimensional self. The multidimensional self is something that most souls have. The soul is not just the human body, or it doesn't just dwell within the human body. It dwells within other parts of you that are not here. All right. The next question comes from Tasha Paul. How do you correctly use a pendulum? Okay, Tasha, so it's not something that I would give on YouTube for many different reasons. But what I feel comfortable telling you for now is that the pendulum is an extension of the biomechanic connection that you have to Source, the God part of who you are. That part of you knows everything. That part of you has access to information that has not quite made its way into your conscious mind. But one of the things that most people don't realize is that when they first use a pendulum and they haven't developed a relationship with it yet to a full degree, it's not connected to that part of yourself as of yet. Most of the time, until you have spent a sufficient amount of time working with the pendulum, it's still connected to your ego. And a lot of times it will give you the answer that you expect to have that's coming from your own doubt or your own fear. Eventually, you want to get to a point where you don't have to utilize the pendulum. You become the pendulum. You become an instant barometer as to how to gauge what's real, what's not real, and you want to have your own connection to gnosis. And this is something that most masters can teach their students to have. So if you do attend the next Kundalini activation, I would be very, very happy to help you and instruct you on how to use the pendulum. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Questions and Answers. And I would like all of you to join us in Atlanta, Georgia, July 22nd for the Kundalini activation, and for July 23rd, which will be the Big Picture Seminar 3.0. It will be the third installment where we will be teaching Sequence of Power, and I will be activating everyone's third eye or first eye, and that will stay open for at least 4 months, and it's a great utility to have. I'll see you on the next episode of Questions and Answers. I'm Sri Master Gano for Galighticus.com. Please subscribe to the channel and share with a like-minded friend, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.
Let all the bells ring for little bee. You are my heart's delight. You make life sunny and bright, little bee.